Well, are you one of the millions of Minnesotans who still have not gotten that Real ID? The deadline is coming up in less than a month. It's important to heed the warnings from officials. Not having a Real ID could throw off your summer travel plans if you are flying to your vacation spot.
Yeah, no one wants to deal with that. Our Tim Blas joins us with a push to get people on board. Okay, Tim, we've been hearing about this time and time again, and now the deadline is coming up fast.
It really kind of is. In fact, it's coming up faster than we all think right now. The federal government has been granting extensions for years, but now this is all getting real. No pun intended here. The deadline is now coming up on May 7th. Now in Minnesota, you have to understand this has always been an option to get a Real ID. When this was debated in the legislature years ago, and I was there for nearly all of it at the time, lawmakers did not want Minnesota to become part of a national registry. This was a data privacy concern. There was also federalism issues that came up too. So the compromise was to not require you to get a Real ID compliant driver's license. And that's why we have such a low adoption rate. In fact, only 41% of us in Minnesota have a Real ID driver's license. That means we got 2.7 million who do not have a Real ID. And it means they're going to have to use some other form of ID, such as a passport, in order to board a plane after May 7th. Now, the Real ID licenses here in Minnesota look exactly like this. To know you have a Real ID compliant license, just look for the gold star up here in the corner so that the TSA knows you are compliant. For many Minnesotans who now may want to start applying to get ahead of this deadline, well, the Director of Driver Vehicle Services says you should start gathering up your documents.
If you still need to apply for Real ID, you will need to provide additional documents compared to the standard driver's license. The three documents you'll need are: one, proving identity, date of birth, and legal U.S. presence, and two, proving current Minnesota residency. You'll also need to know your Social Security number.
Yeah, that's Pong Zhang there from Driver Vehicle Services. He says the most commonly used documents in Minnesota are these: a passport or birth certificate to prove your date of birth. And then people are typically submitting a bank statement and a utility bill to prove where they live. And I want to give you a pro tip here if I can. Pre-apply on drivemn.gov. What you do is you upload your documents and then you set an appointment. So just look for the electronic services. There will be a tab here in the middle to pre-apply. You upload those documents, you set your appointment time, bring those documents then to DVS, and it takes little time. In fact, when I did this last fall, I was in and out in under 10 minutes. When does that ever happen at DVS? And finally, because of the sudden surge to meet the deadline, the current wait time to get it back in the mail is now 45 days. And let me clarify here finally, you can still use your passport as an ID to get on the plane, but the Real ID can make it just a little bit more convenient and seamless for you. Kelsey?
Yeah, and if you have young people, 18-year-olds, still living under your roof, don't have a lot of identification,
right,
use a fishing license.
Yes.
That'll help. All right. Thanks, Tim.